I've got a few more amazing exotic skins to show you here. There's quite a few. We've got shark and buffalo, and there's no alligator or crocodile in this little selection here. That was on the previous video I did about a week ago. So if it's alligator and crocodile you're after, have a look at that film if you've not already seen it. Now this is a fascinating skin. It's incredibly thick, very tough, very hard wearing. It was made in the 60s. I'm not sure if it's buffalo or bison. It's one of the two. Initially I thought it was camel, but I'm pretty sure it's buffalo or bison. Very, very, very thick, quite sort of deep grainy. Mountain ram is similar, but this is definitely not mountain ram. It's extremely hard wearing, but it's more supple and flexible than you think, and it seems very, very resistant to sort of drying out. These just take moisturiser. I don't use any polish on these. So anything that's quite rough, it doesn't take well to polish. So what else have we got? Shark. Another very, very hard wearing skin. It's quite supple, but it's incredibly hard wearing, and it's kind of soft, reasonably flexible to the touch, but I can't stress enough how tough this skin is. It's almost indestructible if you try to scratch it or chip it. These are from the 60s. They look, in remarkable condition, and that's partly due to the skin itself being so tough. Once again, you just use moisturiser. You wouldn't attempt to polish a shoe with such deep texture. Let's just bring it in a little bit closer to the camera. We've got quite a glare because I've got a little LED light above the camera, but I think you get the idea. Yeah, look at that shark. Now, what else? Oh yes, completely the polar opposite. These are made by John Lobb, 1967. Not the most exotic skin, but it's a fairly unusual skin. This is Kangaroo. Kangaroo, it doesn't dry out like regular calf skin will. I've had these years, and to be honest with you, they need a bit of work, and I've never worn them really. I've tried them on, but I've never actually worn them, and they do need a bit of work. I don't think I've even cleaned them, let alone moisturised them. And they've got a lovely sheen. The skin's in nice condition. But Kangaroo, once again, it doesn't dry out, and it's got this. If I bring it in close, it's got quite a wrinkly texture. It's ever so light. There's no the wrinkles are not deep. They're just sort of surface wrinkles, and it's very, very soft, very flexible skin. Kangaroo, absolutely gorgeous. But as I say, these do need a bit of restoration. It's a beautiful shoe, completely original, from 1967 by John Lobb. But I'm looking forward to restoring these Kangaroo. What else do we have? Very interesting. This is King Cobra from 1972, made by Foster and Son. The scales are various sizes. So bring it close to the camera. Some of them are rather quite large, and then we do have smaller scales. Perhaps a little bit like python, but a more discreet colour than python. This is the most unusual skin for a maker like Foster to use. They're quite a conservative maker as a bespoke maker. So this is by Foster's standards, this is a rather loud skin. King Cobra, absolutely amazing. One of the telltale signs of genuine snake skins is, with time, the edges of the scales. Let me just get my little pen. The edges of the scales start to peel up. I'll just zoom in a little bit more. See, that's not completely flat. It would have been, and they go slightly dry, and the edges of the scales, they just start to peel. And that's a sign that it's a genuine skin. Fake skins, they're rather flat, and they never sort of peel up between the scales. What else? Here we go. I adore these shoes. Beautiful shape. That's Teju lizard. about 1950. They're very, very old. I've got an identical style of shoe made by the same maker, which is Johnson and Murphy. They're shown in the previous video. They are caiman skin, but this is Teju lizard. The scales are rather sort of oblong, and they have very. So let me go back to the pointer again. They have very straight edges to the scales. Let's bring it closer to the camera. Yeah, it's very, very sort of straight, like little blocks. Teju lizard. It's fairly tough skin. It's fairly hard wearing, but it is actually rather flexible and it's supple. Responds very well to simple moisturisers. Once again, you wouldn't attempt to be polishing a skin like this. Exotics don't tend to polish very well. They moisturise beautifully, and you get a nice sheen with a moisturiser, but I wouldn't recommend attempting to polish an exotic. Another lizard skin. These are even older. The previous shoe was about 1950. These are 1930s, made by Stetson. It's iguana skin. Let's just zoom right in. Notice the scales are rather rounder, more oval in shape. Let me just bring the Tejus back and we'll compare them directly. See, the Tejus are sort of more oblong. The iguanas are rounder. Fascinating skin. Once again, they're quite hard wearing. You would imagine that relatively small lizards would have frail skin, but it's quite tough. You know, it's quite a tough skin, durable. And these are absolutely unbelievable. On first glance, this looks fake, purely because it's so shiny, and the scales are just so smooth and flat. These make amazing dress shoes. This is Anaconda skin, Anaconda snake, obviously. Now notice how uniform every single scale is. They're all pretty much the same, which might give you an indication it's fake, but Anaconda is like that. All the scales are pretty much the same. These are from 1987 or 88. They're very old, but they haven't had an awful lot of wear. And they haven't started to separate, like I showed you on the King Cobras, and the edges of the scales haven't started to peel up. To be honest with you, if I wear them, that might happen eventually, but I don't really wear them enough, so it's unlikely to happen in my lifetime. But if the scales were to start to peel up, I wouldn't be too disappointed. They would actually look more real, but from a distance, they look like almost like polished calf, and you can wear them as dress shoes. Anaconda snake, really, really magnificent. Let's have a look what else we've got. Here we go. In fact, these are so special. I'm going to make an entirely separate video for this skin. This is 1786 Russian reindeer, but we won't discuss that one here. I'll make an entirely separate video. I do hope this is helped a little bit, just to give you an indication of what to look for on skins. I'm by no means an expert. I'm actually just a ladies' hairdresser, so I'm no means an expert on exotic skins. I just happen to have quite a few, and by default, I've come to understand some of the peculiarities, and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. I'll try and make a few more videos and keep these coming.